If you cannot do this, your knees are at risk, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, what is an ATG-Style Nordic? It means that your abs come off the bench, and then your hips come off the bench. Abs, then hips. And it means that your shoulders stay above your hips on the way up. That's an ATG-Style Nordic. The way up and the way down are two completely different things. The way up is in the Olympic lifting family. Someone will say, oh, aren't you just cheating a Nordic? Well, then is every Olympic lift ever just cheating the weight up? That's exactly right. You're learning how to be efficient. The way up teaches you how to use your brain to direct your nerves to make your body more efficient. The way up and the way down are two completely different things. You can't come up in slow motion, just like you can't slow motion a world record snatch or clean. You have to learn how to be efficient. But guess what? Olympic lifting is up and down. The Nordic is like Olympic lifting applied to horizontal. So I train guys all the time and I see them, they have a big clean or this or that, but they can't run fast. They can't jump off one foot. They can't actually get a running start and jump. I've trained guys who show up, have been training their ass off, have a higher vertical from a standstill than they do with a running start, and that's why they're not professional athletes. Because, contrary to popular opinion, just being strong straight up and down is not what the top athletes are. They're freaky, bouncy, elastic, and they can go fast. Speed makes more money than just strength that you can only use in one plane. So, the way up is in the Olympic lifting family. Activate. Now check this out. By activating your hamstrings, they're mostly fast twitch. You now on the way down can train them even harder. This is a Charles Poliquin principle. I have better activation on the way down because of how I had to make them fire on the way up. Charles Poliquin, bodybuilders, Olympic lifters, well, guess what? If the guy who's explosive is hitting a plateau, he just needs some more adaptation to the structure, some more muscle tissue to work with. Well, that's exactly what you get on the way down. But what about the guy who's all muscle but no explosion? Well, that's exactly what you get on the way up. So in one single movement, you can get the neural activation and the structural changes. Moving on, what does this have to do with your knee? Why does this directly put your knee at risk? Well, when you actually go to jump off one leg, look at that position right there. Look at the angle of my knee. Don't look at the context of the background. Look at the angle of my knee. Well, look at this. There's no tension here. Where does the tension come in? There. Now that tension comes in. We're directly training to be able to resist, because one of two things is going to happen when you go to jump off one leg. You're either going to do what guys who can't jump off one leg do. They can't handle the force, so the force overcomes them, and they end up getting a dead leg jump. They get that power outage effect, and they simply don't jump high because they can't resist this. That breaks them, and they get a dead leg jump. The other thing that happens is someone could be a good jumper, but they go here. They can't resist it themselves, so they let too much force come into the knee, and then they're trying to jump with their knee, and they wind up with jumper's knee, or worse, tearing ligaments. So, do you see that? As my leg is extending to jump, right there, the stronger you are to resist it, the more you can keep going forward on your own without either getting a dead leg jump where it straightens against your will, or not being able to handle it and then trying to use a knee jump. So, those are the two things that happen. This is why I assumed for myself, I even got strong quads, still assumed I just wasn't a 1 foot jumper. Well, we're gonna get to that. I assumed my genetics, I was told by elite coaches that my genetics just were not for 1 foot jumping. I couldn't be a 1 foot jumper. Why? They told me two reasons why I couldn't be a 1 foot jumper. My leg, the bone length was not good, and I didn't have those high cut Achilles. Well, Stephen Holm and Jonathan Edwards didn't either. These are two 6 foot or less white guys. Go ahead and look up Jonathan Edwards' triple jump. His world record still stands. A sub 6 foot white guy, his world record still stands, even though he was told he could never be a triple jumper. He was told to be physically impossible. His country wouldn't even sponsor him as an athlete. And he set this world record at age 29. He was shit for a decade. He was a master of Nordics. He did 20 a day. Okay, success leaves clues. And then Stephen Holm was the other one. Another sub 6 foot white guy, won a gold medal in the high jump for being able to jump off one leg. He trained his hamstrings like crazy. You can even see videos of him training the crap out of his hamstrings. So, my point with this though, is not to try to steal their program or something like that. I observe guys to see examples, and then I try to figure out how to do it in ways that anyone can benefit. Because these guys had Olympic coaches, not very easy to just access an Olympic coach and ask him exactly what he did to produce a gold medal. But they prove you don't need long legs, you don't need high cut Achilles to be literally the best in the world at jumping off one foot. Now, the Nordic is not the same as other knee flexion exercises. When you are on a leg curl machine, the weight's not tough yet here, and the weight only starts to get tough in here. Same thing when you get on a Swiss ball. The weight's not tough here, and only as you curl up, it gets tough in this position. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not training you for speed and jumping. It's not training you to actually protect your knee. So I lived on those things, still couldn't protect my knee to jump off one foot, still couldn't do a Nordic. So if you look at the Nordic, we're training in the actual usable range. This is why I promise you cannot get better at this and not run faster and jump higher, because the weight's not here. This is not where the weight is. The weight is here in the actual usable range. When is it? Boom, there. Boom, boom. That is where the tension is right there. The tension's not up here. Nothing wrong with doing those, but you could waste years of your life and never become an elite athlete. Most people will see their decades of possibility of transformation go by. They will never reach their speed and jumping potential. And one reason is that they are never able to do a Nordic. My knee ability program, I promise I can get you to Nordic. You don't have to have a Nordic bench. You don't even have to be close to doing one right now. It took me a long time to do a Nordic. I thought I would never be able to do a Nordic. I've had to innovate routes that didn't exist, and no one has ever taught a Nordic the way that I teach a Nordic. But that's just one area. You also do want world-class strength on the front of your knee. The front of my knee is so strong, I can't hurt it no matter how hard I try. It doesn't matter how much force I put on the front. So that's the other side of it. You don't want the front of your knee vulnerable just because you're weak on a Nordic. You want both. Now what's going to happen? You're going to be able to run faster, and if you don't learn how to properly train your tibialis, you're going to wind up with shin splints because you're going to be going faster, and now your ankle is going to be under more pressure. So you need to also learn how to train your tibialis. And the Nordic is just training the hamstring strength. My knee ability program also builds world-class hamstring flexibility. That's an equal part of the equation for protecting your hamstring and your knees. And then, if you're going to have this world-class hamstring, your hip flexor has to be strong enough to keep up with it, and it has to have enough flexibility to go back. So you can get the splits alone. I guess you can't see it on here, but you can get the splits alone from my knee ability program. You want world-class hip flexor strength and world-class hip flexor flexibility. And lastly, every 1 pound of pressure in your upper body adds 4 pounds of pressure to your knees. So my knee ability program also trains you on the exact upper body training, which is going to give you the most athleticism with the least wear and tear on your knees. And actually, by having them in balance, it puts less pressure on your knees. Because if you have just the right numbers of upper body strength, you're now not overworking your legs, and the upper body's going to do its job. So I teach you every video like this, teaching you the why, teaching you how to do it. Then we use an app to coach your form every single session so that you duplicate it exactly as if I was in front of you teaching you. And then you have my personal number to answer your questions 7 days a week for anything that could come up. Even 1 month of this will change the rest of your life, or I'll personally refund you. Hundreds and hundreds of people are doing this. Many of them want to be the best they can possibly be at their career, and I save them from having to have a personal trainer for only $49.50 a month. But some others will do it for just 1 month, and they tell us how much it changed their life. And even a year later, they're saying it completely changed the rest of their life. I was told that it would be impossible to deliver this service that I just described for less than $99 a month. That'd be suicide. So I told that guy, I'm doing it for $49.50. That's the reasoning behind this random $49.50, is because I was told it would be impossible to do for less than $99 a month. So I did it $49.50 without roping you into a contract. My mom personally runs the finances, so even if you accidentally go over or this, that, your money is with real people. It's not with some robot that's just taking your money. So that is the why behind the ATG-Style Nordic, but you better be safe out there. I simply think every single person watching this should invest in at least a month. I had a job since I was 12. It cost less than half of a pair of basketball shoes. So there's really, if you want to be the best, we're the best. We're the best. We can give you the best, and we actually sacrifice and work for you for less than any competitor. So there's simply not a single reason why you shouldn't do at least a month, because it'll change the rest of your life. So thank you for watching. I hope to give you hope in your dreams and make your dreams come true. My freaking dreams came true thanks to these simple things that no other coach was teaching. Your dreams can literally come true, and we have people every day, not only, getting college scholarships and pro contracts, people who had no business doing so, but even people who thought they would never walk down the stairs again and be able to hold their baby as they walk down the stairs. These are the exact kind of things happening. If you look in my results, you will simply see more actual knee results than any coach in history. Scour the internet, look everywhere on the internet. You will not find as many knee results as I've produced since May 27th when I made my Instagram account. Less than 8 months, I've made more knee results in less than 8 months than any coach in history. That doesn't happen unless the recipe is right and if you actually work hard and deliver it for people at a price they can afford. Because there are some coaches who could have given you as much results, but they literally I trained with them, they cost $1,000 a day. I'm giving you their secrets for $49.50 a month without a contract. So I'll see you on the inside. Set your goals bigger than they are right now, because you can actually make bigger dreams happen than what you think right now.